We have maybe the showdown of the year tonight. This is going to hopefully be a great game taking place in Houston, Texas. The NBA Emirates Cup is here again, and we got two 1-1 cup teams that are getting ready to face off in maybe the battle of the giants. Whose double big lineups will prevail? Which guard will be able to put up the best game? Will the Nuggets or the Rockets have the best wing performance? This is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about, do measuring stick games actually matter this early in the year? We're going to talk about Jamal Murray and Peyton Watson. We're going to talk about the matchup that means the most. This is going to be a test of the Nuggets defense for reasons you might not expect. That's Ryan. This is Swipa. And this is Locked on Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Locked on Nuggets. This is your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Thank y'all so much for joining us today. This is going to be a great episode. Y'all, if you ain't know, if nobody told you, Locked On, this is the number one podcast network, the number one sports podcast network in the world, Craig. The world. This is the best place to be to hear about your Denver Nuggets, hear about NBA news, and to hear from Ryan Blackburn, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Statistician himself, Mr. Put the best game charts together, the best lineup data, the best analytics, all the stuff you're looking for. Who needs to play with who? That is Ryan Blackburn. This is going to be a great episode. Can't wait to get into it. Ryan, how are you doing today, my friend?
Man, Swipe, I'm good. I've been excited for this one ever since Denver won on Wednesday against the New Orleans Pelicans, and they bounced back. They recovered. It wasn't a perfect win, but they got it done.
Yeah.
And you start looking ahead. You start thinking about, okay, well, this next one feels a lot different. This next one feels a lot more important to me. And I hope it feels a lot more important to the Nuggets, because this one I would classify as a measuring stick game for the Nuggets, one where they get to see how good they are against another great team in the league.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting, man, because the Houston Rockets, they have been one of the surprises of the season so far. Everybody thought since Fred VanVleet was going to be out, Ryan, that they wouldn't have a chance to not only to maintain in the contender status, but really to find a true offensive punch. But the Rockets, man, they have kind of rebuilt their team a little bit with Kevin Durant, Alperen Sengun, Amen Thompson, Josh Okogie's had a great year, Steven Adams, Clint Capella, Torrey Eason, who's obviously dealing with some injuries. They have a lot of really good players that contribute in some very interesting ways, and I'm excited to see what the matchups look like. So, Ryan, you know, as you're evaluating this game and you see what the Houston Rockets have done this year, and just for the audience, just to give you some understanding of what the Rockets are right now, because the Nuggets didn't show up all that well versus the Bulls and the Pelicans, the Houston Texans are now, they're second in the NBA net rating with the plus 11.4. What a lot of people might not realize is that they're currently number one in offensive rating in the NBA. They have a 123.0 offensive rating this year. They're just absolutely frying teams from the three-point line. And so far this year, Ryan, they're still shooting already 15 games into the year. They're shooting 42.3% from three this year on the lowest volume in the league. But just for people to understand further context, Matt and I talked about this a little bit yesterday. Ryan, they have on the season so far 7 people shooting above 40% from three. Josh Okogie shooting 44. Sengun is shooting 44. Reed shooting 47. J.D. Davison shooting 50. Aaron Holiday shooting 50. Torrey Eason 51. And then Jeff Green 66. And then you got Kevin Durant shooting 37.7 on 4.7 attempts. Ryan, this team can shoot. They rebound. They make you pay if you make mistakes on the defensive end.
Yeah, they do everything. They do a little bit of everything. And identity is not necessarily in their three-point shooting, obviously. They're not trying to rain hellfire on you. They're trying to take the open shots that they generate because they put so much pressure on the inside. They put so much pressure on your interior defense, especially when they go with that double big group. You guys obviously went through the individual matchups yesterday a lot.
Yeah.
We'll go through some of it a little bit more today. But I think of this game, when I think of this one just feels different because this is a different level of team than the Nuggets have faced so far. The other games that they have played so far this year, okay, they lost to the Golden State Warriors on opening night, and then they faced the Golden State Warriors again without Steph Curry. They lost, or they won against Minnesota a couple of times. The first one was without Anthony Edwards. Second one, Minnesota's on the second night of a back-to-back. You can make excuses for why those games happen if you're the opposing team. Outside of that, Denver's had a relatively weak schedule. Denver's had a relatively weak start to the year in terms of, okay, how hard do you have to play in order to be really good? And this is the first time where I feel like Denver's going to have to bring their A game. Denver's going to have to bring a different level of basketball, a different level of focus, a different level of intensity in order to match up with a really great basketball team. And so this is why I care about measuring stick games. I care about this because it doesn't happen a lot. Like, I only have about 15 games throughout the year. It's the games against Houston, OKC, Minnesota, Cleveland, and New York. Those are the 5 teams that I think are those 15 games that they'll play. Those are the games that I care about in terms of how much is Denver going to show. And last year, they were bad in those particular matchups against that level of team. And it kind of showed me they didn't necessarily have the ceiling that we were hoping for. This year, they started out 2-0. I want to see whether they can continue that. I want to see what kind of level they can bring in those particular games. I know that they're going to bring it against these other teams. I'm not sure how they're going to bring it against a top-tier team like Houston in a random game in November, but it does mean more than that to me.
Yeah, when I try to evaluate the personalities of this team, Jamal Murray is always going to downplay, and not like in a snide way either, but hey, it's early in the season. It's November 21st. It's an in-season cup game. We're not rolling yet. We don't really want to be on the roll yet either. And I think, Jokic is always going to approach it the same way as well. I want to have good process. How's the team around me playing? Do I need to score a lot in the first quarter? What do I need to do defensively? I think Cam Johnson and Peyton Watson, this is going to be a nice moment for them. Peyton is going to be starting at the 2 today, Ryan. I'm pretty sure, unless something changes. And so I think some of this is like, I want to see what happens with how Houston decides to guard Denver. And then also what Peyton Watson decides to do defensively, because you're going to have a lot of opportunity. And I told Matt yesterday, I don't believe that when Peyton Watson sees Amen Thompson on the other side of the floor, I don't think he thinks Amen is just like that much better than him, because they're very similar. Like, they're both very good athletes, very good defenders. And I think Peyton, he feels like as the opportunity grows for him, he can do a lot of really good things on the basketball court that not a lot of players can do. I think the Pelicans game, it's a vote of confidence for him. I think if you look at how he's played so far, filling in for Christian Brown this year, I think he's been good. And I think when you look at Peyton Watson this year, I think as a starter right now, Ryan, he's averaging in 4 games, 16 points, 6 rebounds, 2 steals a game, 57% from the field, 47% from 3 on 4 attempts a game. Now just 67% from the free throw line. And also he's been a +1, +11, +5, +3. He's playing good basketball, but I think some of this is about, I think from a confidence standpoint, it will go really far for Peyton Watson if he has a good game versus the Houston Rockets tonight.
This is the kind of matchup where he is pivotal in, because he has so many different guys that he can guard, so many different plays where he can potentially make an impact as an interior defender, as somebody who's going to contest and potentially block a lot of shots. But it's also one where he could really struggle. It's also one where if his athleticism isn't quite to the level of an Amen Thompson and he collects some fouls, if it's not quite at the level that it needs to be from a finishing perspective on the offensive end against some interior defense from Houston, if he's not going to contest Kevin Durant at the level that I think you and I both think that he can, then this is one where like Watson will be a bellwether, a linchpin for what the Nuggets are trying to do on both ends of the floor and bringing up their level. His role replacing Christian Brown, I think it matters a lot more in a game like this, where, yeah, he went 5 of 9 from 3 against the Pelicans. Can you go 5 of 9 from 3 on the road against the Houston Rockets in an NBA Cup game where you're facing off against one of your idols in Kevin Durant and against an elite defensive team where they don't have to give up open threes to you? Like that's a fair question to me. I'm curious to see how he responds to it, but both ends of the floor, he's a big deal in this matchup.
Yeah, I think some of this is going to be, Houston's going to play a little bit of zone today too, and the Nuggets are. So it's going to be a matchup between, who's going to be able to exploit each other's weaknesses in a lot of those lineups. So we'll talk about this more on the other side because I think Jamal Murray has a really, as he always does, a really interesting role to play in today's game. We'll talk about all that and more here at Locked On Nuggets. Let's talk about something every business owner knows too well: missed calls. When a customer tries to reach you and can't get through, that's money slipping away. Quo, spelled Q-U-O, is the smarter way to run your business communication so you never miss an opportunity. Quo is the #1 business phone system built for 2025, not 1995. It's simple, modern, and designed to help you communicate faster, look more professional, and stay connected wherever you're working. Now, your whole team can share one number and collaborate on calls and texts like a shared inbox, which means customers get help faster. Also, if you can't answer, Quo's AI agent jumps in. It can qualify leads, route calls, and make sure no customer is ever left hanging, even after hours. So try Quo for free at quo.com/LockedOnNBA. That's quo.com/LockedOnNBA. And yes, you can even keep your existing number. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. The NBA season is heating up, and DoorDash has found the perfect way to keep fans in their bag all season long. Now, whether you're watching for the highlights, your fantasy team, or just your favorite player, DoorDash makes every game night even better. DoorDash is the official on-demand delivery platform of the NBA, and they're celebrating with something called the Bag Drop. Every time an NBA player scores 50 points in a game, DoorDash drops 50% off your order with Dash Pass the next day, and you're automatically entered for a chance to win the ultimate fan bag. We're talking player-inspired drip, exclusive gear, and stuff you'll actually want. Now, DoorDash has you covered for late-night highlights, last-minute watch parties, and double OT fuel-ups. So next time someone goes off for 50, use promo code NBA50 the next day to get 50% off on DoorDash with Dash Pass, plus your shot at the bag drop. Dash Pass members only. 50% off up to $10 a day after a 50-point game with promo code. Terms apply. No purchase necessary. Ends April 13th. Open to U.S. residents 21 or older. Visit DoorDashInYourBag.com for full details. DoorDash in your bag all season long. We'll be back for more here at Locked On Nuggets. We're back for segment 2 here of Locked On Nuggets here with Ryan Blackburn and Swipa. Y'all, make sure if you're watching this on the YouTube side, give us a like, share, and subscribe. We're on the way to 15,000 subscribers by the end of this NBA season. Also, if you're listening to this on Apple iTunes and Spotify and you're saying, who are those great voices? Give us a 5-star review. That way more and more people can listen to the great content being made here at Locked On Nuggets with Matt Moore, Ryan Blackburn, and Swipa. Y'all, let's get straight into it, y'all. So, Ryan, what do you expect to see from Jamal Murray tonight? Because he's going to have a very interesting role versus this Rockets team.
Yeah, I thought on Wednesday, in recovering from the heavy minutes that he played on Monday night against the Chicago Bulls, I thought Wednesday he was subpar. I thought that there were some things that he did. It was fine. It was okay. I did some things on the defensive end, did some things on the offensive end, but nothing that really stuck out to me. 16 points, 8 assists, 5 of 14. Not a great night. I think that he's going to be the key for the Rockets in terms of they have so many guys in Amen, in Tari Eason, in Josh Okogie, in like just all of the perimeter defenders that they can throw at him. And they threw them at him last year, and I thought that he handled it pretty well last year in the Rockets matchups that they played. I'm curious with Denver in this situation where, yeah, Peyton Watson can handle the ball, but he's not going to be a main ball handler for Denver. Cam Johnson can handle the ball. I actually kind of like what Cam could bring tonight in an assisting role, kind of a secondary creator role, but he's not going to be handling the basketball like Jamal Murray. I'm curious what it looks like starting, coming off the bench with the second units. I'm curious to see what kind of levels he can bring. I think he's going to take a lot of shots. I think he's going to take 20 shots tonight. I think he's going to really get it up. And as a result, you're probably going to see some points. The question is whether it's going to be efficient, whether it's going to be effective. And if the Rockets, like if they're daring him to take the tough mid-range jumpers, how often does he settle for that versus trying to get something better?
So Jamal had 34 points in the Bulls game, 23 points in the Minnesota game. Now, he hasn't had a 40-point game since the Minnesota game, the first one on the 27th of October. But if you look at his shooting, he's shot 14 times, 22 times, 22 times, 16, 15, 12, 15, 17. I'm with you. I think he's going to be, and probably has to be, honestly, around anywhere between 17 to 21 shots tonight, just given like kind of how the coverages he's going to see. Yeah. Now, I'm curious with this. If they play Alperen Sengun and Steven Adams to start the game, I don't know if they will. If they do, he's going to have a lot of very good looks out of that split action, out of pick and roll. And I think being able to take advantage of the space that he can naturally create, especially coming off of those drags or those Spain pick and rolls they like to run. I'm curious to see how, I mean, by the way, Max, 9 of 20 is good. Like 45% from shooting from a guard. It's like, it's not terrible.
Especially if you're taking 9 threes and you're hitting 3 to 4 of them. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, and you're taking a lot of mid-range jumpers too. That's pretty good. But I will say, man, that if Jamal's on today, brother, then this bodes really well for Denver because honestly, he's been one of the best jump shooters in the league, Ryan, for the last several seasons. But he's not shooting well right now, and I think that's going to eventually peak up. Now, his true shooting is at 58.1. I think the league average right now is 58.3, maybe 58.0. So he's like at league average.
He's dropped a little bit. He started off better, and I think as the year has gone on, he's regressed at least a little bit. Yeah. Some of that's been okay. Like you had some games where like you have to take a lot of shots and you're taking on a lot of responsibility. And when you're taking on that responsibility, it means that other people get easier shots as a result. And that's the part of the equation with Jamal's efficiency individually that people don't really appreciate. Like he does set up Jokic pretty well. He does set up Valanciunas in the post pretty well. He does find other guys for cuts and make it so that when he's drawing too, somebody else is open. So I don't think of his efficiency as much as other people do. But like if it drops down to 56, if it drops down to 55, then you start to have some problems.
Do you think Alperen Sengun has an efficient game today? Because he's a little bit below league average right now, but he's obviously like his scoring is his shot diet is much different than prototypical centers in terms of how he plays.
It's tough. Like I don't know who he's going to be matching up against. He's going to start at center. He's not going to start at power forward. I don't think that Steven Adams is going to start. But I do think that Adams, when he does come in, they'll move Sengun over, and then they will stagger Sengun with the second unit. So he's probably going to be facing either Valanciunas on the second unit, or like, is it going to be Aaron Gordon staggering with the second group? Like, I don't know who the power forward is going to be. Is it Spencer Jones? Is it Peyton Watson? Is it?
It's probably going to be Spencer.
Also, if that's the case, Spencer could probably do a pretty good job, but he's also probably going to foul. So I would guess that Sengun gets to the free throw line. He'll probably miss some shots at the rim. He's not a great finisher at the rim still, but he's been shooting it amazing from three. So I would say 25 points on 9 of 17 and 8 of 9 from the free throw line, or something akin to that.
Okay. What's Jokic's stat line today? So just for context, by the way, I don't know if people know this. Jokic this month right now, he is at 34 points, 13 rebounds, 11 assists, 2 steals, and he's shooting currently a 76 true shooting so far.
That's okay. Yeah, I'll take that.
I mean, the last couple games have been like, but it's also like Jokic, so
turnovers will be high again. I think it'll be about 5 turnovers, if not more. I think that you're going to get to 30 plus with him. The real question is it going to have to be 40? I don't think so. I think it's probably going to sit at around 34, 35. 20 shots, 22 shots, probably around 13 of 22 I'd say. And then the real question is how many rebounds he's going to be forced to get with the double big lineup, how many he's going to be available to get while he's also boxing out these guys. So I'll go with 32 points, 14 rebounds, 7 assists, underperforms on the assists because the Nuggets have to go through him more and he's passing less.
What will be, well, actually on the other side, I'll ask you this question because I think this is going to be important for wrapping up. Who kind of wins this game? Because I don't have quite the grasp on it, but I think I have a good idea of what might end up happening, Ryan Blackburn. We'll talk about all that more at the last segment here. Locked On Nuggets. So, y'all, this episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day. But on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement of this sports season. Whether you're following the NFL, NBA, or both, there's no better time to jump in on the action. Now, if you haven't tried it yet, PrizePicks is the simplest way to play. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats, and if you get them right, you win. It takes less than 60 seconds to make your lineup, and you can play anywhere PrizePicks operates, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Now, I love using PrizePicks. I use it on NFL Sundays. I use it before tip-offs at NBA games. I love locking in my favorite players, especially Nuggets and Broncos players, being able to predict kind of what it's going to look like. They have a new stack feature as well. That's a game changer. You can now pick more on like Steph's points, threes, and assists in the same lineup. Plus, if a player leaves early because of injury, the injury rotates my lineup from a loss. So it is literally great. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 lineups in after your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Y'all, now this is something. So there's not all the time that I have an opportunity to talk about something that I actually use myself. Y'all, I'm trying to tell y'all right now, Doer makes some phenomenal jeans. Phenomenal jeans. For somebody like me who works out a lot, I have a very muscular build. I've always had issues buying jeans my entire life. And the jeans that I typically have to get are super expensive because I got to get Hudson, I got to get True Religion, I got to get stuff that fits me. Doer is a different deal because not only are these jeans great, they're affordable. And especially for somebody like me who goes through clothes and wants to make sure I always have up-to-date stuff, it is great. They have 5 times the stretch of traditional denim. They're antibacterial, meaning your jeans stay fresher for longer so you can wear more and wash less. Also, they're made with cool mask that regulates your body temperature and wicks moisture and keeps you cool and comfortable as the temperature changes. So Doer makes the world's most comfortable pants without having to sacrifice style. Trust me, you try these are going to be your go-to. And you can check out Doer in store here in Denver. It's at 2621 Larimer Street. You pick up a pair for yourself or as an amazing holiday gift. Mention my promo code LOCKEDONDenver in store to get 15% off your first order. Or check them out online at shopdoer.com/LockedOnDenver for 15% off. That's shopdoer.com/LockedOnDenver. We'll be back for the final segment here at Locked On Nuggets. We're back here for the final segment of Locked On Nuggets. Hope you're having a spectacular day. We're talking about the Houston Rockets versus the Denver Nuggets and Ryan Blackburn.
Yes, sir.
I think the Nuggets win tonight.
Wow.
And one of the things that I think is being underrated about this team is that when they have had to push themselves and I think really like grit it out defensively and offensively, they've been able to do that this year. Now, I think the Portland Trailblazers lost, a lot of people remembering that. I mean, it was a lot of ticky-tack stuff that happened at the end of the game. You know, the game 1 loss to the Golden State Warriors was really ugly. There's a lot of Jokic also just, 2 of 13 from 3. He had a horrible game that game, at least from the shooting standpoint. And then in this situation as well, man, like even looking at the Bulls game, bro, like if the Rockets had been scored 66 points tonight, bro, you're right. They might end up winning. But the Bulls, they were double-digit advantage over the Nuggets bench in that game. I don't know if that's going to happen today. Maybe it does, but I feel confident in Jonas Valanciunas in this game versus Steven Adams and versus Clint Capella. I feel good with Peyton Watson in this lineup, especially defensively. Kevin Durant is going to have to face Bruce Brown, Peyton Watson, and Aaron Gordon, and Spencer Jones today. Funny enough, man, they have a lot of people that can get in the grill of the scores for the Houston Rockets this year, especially on the wing. And I think Jokic is going to play well. He has to continue to do what he's done. But it's really going to come down to Jamal for me. If Jamal can find a way to take advantage of the amount of space, especially Jokic and Valanciunas are going to create for him as a screener, I think it's going to be a really good game for him. But maybe not efficient, but I think in terms of productive, impactful.
Yeah, it would be nice to get a 30-10 kind of game from Jamal in this case, where he's getting space from those screens. Other players are having to react to that, and then he is ultimately going to make the decision on, okay, I've got an open mid-range shot, I've got to obviously take it, or you can generate some threes. This is the situation where I'm not sure how many threes he's going to be able to generate if Amen's going to go over that screen and block a shot from behind, like just wrapping around that screen from behind and then being able to get it. So we'll see whether he's going to be able to generate it. Josh Okogie's not a guy that I think that Denver should be scared of matching up with Jamal. So if they get that matchup, like he's just got to work through it, he'll be fine. On the defensive end, as we mentioned before, like you were talking about, and I think Matt talked about this in our group chat earlier today, like Denver's been great guarding the three. They've been great. They haven't allowed that many threes. But the guarding aspect is not necessarily something that I think that they've done well. They've gotten a little bit lucky. They've had some teams like, for example, the Pelicans in this last game, they went 7 of 34. Like how much of that was because of Denver's amazing defense versus how much of it was the Pelicans just being horrible? I think that it's a combination of both. Whether they make shots the Rockets or not, to me, it is more about the other two factors where the Nuggets have been really good defensively this year. It is preventing free throws and preventing offensive rebounds. If they can avoid opposing teams, and specifically the Rockets tonight, getting 30 free throws, if they can hold them to under 25, that to me is a good number because the Rockets do such a great job of generating those looks. Like it's Kevin Durant falling to the ground and acting like he's been like absolutely just smacked around by these guys just by him being 7 foot. It is Alperen Sengun doing a great job of driving into guys and enforcing contact. It's Amen Thompson doing the same thing. It's Steven Adams being an absolute beast and grabbing offensive rebounds. And then there's other guys that you can point to as getting to the line. But it's the offensive rebounds with Adams. Adams leads the NBA with 5.2 offensive rebounds per game in 22 minutes. That's insane. That's an insane stat. Like, he's so good. And so Denver is going to be they're going to be struggling. They're going to be struggling against him. Valanciunas is in for a big time matchup against him. And I'm curious to see whether like those particular points, because it is what it is. If you give up open threes, fine. If they hit them at a high rate and they take more of them and they make them at a higher clip, then so be it. But if you're giving up all of the other stuff too, that's where the problem is.
Yeah, I think we're in a situation now where the Nuggets are going to have to play discipline, if that makes sense. Because the issue is that on the defensive rebound, now, again, to be fair, the Nuggets are the second best defensive rebounding team in the NBA this year. So they've done a really good job. But when you're playing versus a team that gets 40% of their offensive rebounds, it's a collective effort.
Yeah, that's a different kind of beast from what they've had to deal with.
Right. So Peyton Watson, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, who hasn't had a great rebounding year, but some of that may be just positionally where he is on the floor. We know when the shots are going up. It can't just be Jokic. That's what I'm saying. Jokic can have 19 rebounds today, okay, but I still need help, because I can't do it all myself, especially versus those trees. So I do think Peyton Watson, the thing I was most encouraged by was beyond the scoring, Ryan, he had 12 rebounds last game. And I think he had a 10-rebound game early this year as well. Yeah. I think he needs to really put his athleticism to use and secure those boards.
It's not just him. Like, to me, it's Cam Johnson. Like, yeah, Cam Johnson he's a weakness as a rebounder in comparison to Michael Porter Jr. Yep. That's the one. Like, say all you want about the volume scoring and things like that. I don't care about that as much because the Nuggets are an amazing offense.
Yeah.
I care about, like, what can you provide on the defensive end. What can you like? He's been great perimeter defense wise. I will say that. But
that
a lot
steal
of it,
that he had versus the Pelicans and Trey Murphy on the trail, bro. I was like,
yeah. I mean, hey, he's making plays. He's making things happen. But like in this particular matchup, like I'm gonna guess Aaron Gordon's guarding Kevin Durant most of the night. Peyton Watson's probably guarding Amen Thompson. You've got Jamal on Josh Okogie. You've got Cam Johnson on Jabari Smith. You got to kind of give and take between how much you're going to go out and contest Jabari Smith versus how much you're going to leave him and try to help out Jokic and others on the glass. So that's going to be a give and take. It's going to be a push and pull tonight for Cam Johnson. So can he go get 6 rebounds? Can Aaron Gordon go get 8? Can Jokic go get 14? Like these are the kinds of numbers that they're going to have to put up.
30 and 20 game from Jokic tonight.
Hey, I mean, if he does it and he does it in prime time, then that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. What's your prediction for the game?
I think they lose. I think this is not just a jinx or anything. And when I say that, people are saying it's a jinx. You can only cry wolf so many times, bro. People are going to call you a jinx at this point. I think that Denver's defense loses a little bit of ground tonight. They haven't been playing great on that end of the floor in each of the last couple of games. And I think they need a little bit of a reminder of the kind of levels that they have to achieve. And this is a good opportunity for a reminder. Whether they bring it or not, like Houston may just beat them. They may just physically overpower them. And I think that would be a good reminder of how far the Nuggets still have to go. And that's what Jamal is kind of saying oftentimes. It's November. It's just a step in the process. But this is a good stepping stone for Denver to figure out where they can improve and where they're already really great.
Yeah, let us know what you think in the comment section. This is going to be a fun game. I can't wait to see the post game with Ryan and Matt after this one. This should be a lot of fun and maybe get some interesting takes afterward as well. That's Ryan. This is Swipa. Thank y'all so much for joining the show today. We will be back tonight with another episode. Y'all know what time it is. This is Locked On Nuggets. We will see you on the other side.